What happens when a family, once so close, becomes the source of your deepest pain? Emily Carter, a successful investment analyst on Wall Street, gazes out of her luxury Manhattan apartment, the weight of a life built on ambition, success, and survival on her shoulders. At 42, she's about to marry Jacob, but as she holds her wedding invitation, the ghosts of her past stir. A lifetime of jealousy and rivalry with her sister, Ashley, has left Emily scarred and questioning everything. Can she truly move on from her family's neglect? Or will her upcoming wedding be a reminder of all she's left behind? As Emily prepares for her new chapter, the question lingers: will her family ever be a part of it? In her luxury Manhattan apartment, Emily Carter stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker to life as the sun dipped below the horizon. At 42, she was a respected investment analyst on Wall Street, a woman of success in a high-stakes world. But tonight, as her gaze drifted to the wedding invitation on her desk, an invitation for her own wedding to her fiancé, Jacob, her thoughts wandered back to a place far removed from the world of financial charts and projections. Marriage. It was a word that conjured both joy and a cascade of unresolved emotions, particularly when it came to her family. Among the complex ties that bound Emily's heart was her relationship with her sister, Ashley. From the beginning, their relationship had been marked by competition, jealousy, and an unspoken rivalry. Ashley had always been the chosen one, the child that drew the praise and attention, while Emily, born 10 months later, often felt like an afterthought. Emily remembered her grandmother Martha's words all too well. Ashley was the one they planned for, and you, Emily, were the unexpected gift. Looking back, Emily traced the painful dynamics of her childhood. From the earliest memories, it was clear that Ashley was the golden child. Family photos told the story Ashley, always positioned in the center of the frame, while Emily was relegated to the outer edges. On family vacations, it was always Ashley who went on the trips, while Emily stayed behind, left to be with her grandparents. One summer, when Emily was just 7 years old, she overheard her parents planning a trip to Disneyland. Her heart leapt with excitement, imagining herself walking among the magical castles. But those hopes were dashed when her mother, Sarah, casually told her, "Sorry, Emily, this time we're only taking Ashley. You'll get your turn next time." Emily fought back the tears. "But I want to go too," she cried, her voice trembling. Her father, David, responded sternly, "Emily, just stay quietly at your grandparents'. Ashley needs special consideration." That phrase, special consideration, burned itself into her memory. Why was Ashley always special? Why was Emily always second? And worse still, that next time never came. Emily spent that summer alone, staring at old family photos, her heart aching with the sting of abandonment. As she grew older, the unfairness became impossible to ignore. Around the age of 6 or 7, Emily's loneliness deepened. The emotional neglect was no longer something she could simply overlook. Her anger began to fester, but it was with her grandparents, George and Martha, that she found refuge. They were her haven, unconditionally loving, endlessly patient, and always there to soothe her broken heart. "Emily, you are special," Martha would tell her with a soft smile. "But sometimes that can be a burden. Be strong." Her grandfather, George, shared his passion for mathematics and science, and it became Emily's sanctuary. When he taught her, it was like opening the door to a world where she could thrive, a world where she wasn't second to anyone. One evening, George took Emily up to the rooftop and showed her an old telescope. "This was passed down from my father," he said with nostalgia. "When you look at the stars, you realize how small our problems really are." That night, they observed the stars together, and in the vastness of the universe, Emily felt small but also free. She had always been one to question the world, and in that moment, she realized the infinite possibilities before her. "Knowledge is power, Emily," George often said, his voice carrying wisdom. "It's a treasure no one can take from you." To escape her painful reality, Emily turned to books. She poured herself into solving math problems, striving to prove her worth, to prove that she was special. But in her parents' eyes, she was just the quiet, responsible daughter, the one who did what was asked, but never stood out. "Why can't you be more like Ashley?" her father, David, would ask. "Go outside and make some friends." But for Emily, the outside world was always a hostile place. Her classmates called her weird, making her a target for ridicule. Ashley, with her popularity and charm, never came to her defense. In fact, there were times when Ashley joined in the teasing. The pain of being alone, even with a sister, became an ache that Emily carried deep inside. The invitation to her wedding now lay before her, the words a stark contrast to the memories of a past marked by neglect and longing. Emily stood by the window, the bustling city of Manhattan reflecting the woman she had become, independent, accomplished, and confident. But beneath her success was a woman still grappling with the scars of her past. And yet, as she looked back on her journey, she couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. Despite everything, Emily had found love with Jacob, a love that was hers, truly hers, and not a product of comparisons or rivalry. In this new chapter, she knew that she was worthy of happiness, a happiness that, for so long, had felt out of reach. One day during a school break, Emily was reading a book in a corner of the library. Suddenly, her classmates surrounded her. "Look, she's reading alone again," a girl laughed. "Don't you have any friends?" Emily blushed and was at a loss for words. Just then, Ashley passed by. For a moment, Emily thought her sister might help her. However, Ashley looked at Emily coldly and said, "Leave her alone. My sister is a bit special." Emily's classmates burst into laughter. Emily, clutching her book, ran into the bathroom and cried. The pain of being betrayed by her sister hurt her more deeply than the words of her classmates. During high school, the relationship between Emily and Ashley became even more complex. Emily excelled academically, while Ashley was sociable and popular. Every time Emily answered correctly in class, her classmates sighed and muttered, "There she goes again." While she was proud of her talent, Emily was tormented by loneliness. She immersed herself in libraries and labs, finding her worth through knowledge absorption. One day during a chemistry experiment, Emily made a remarkable discovery. Her results challenged textbook theories. Excited, she reported to her teacher, who praised her talent. But the joy was short-lived. Ashley suddenly appeared and said, "Are you trying to draw attention with your weird experiments again? I'll tell Mom and Dad." Emily was speechless. Why couldn't her sister be happy for her success? Why was she always trying to crush her? That evening, her parents scolded Emily harshly. "Don't cause trouble for the teacher with unnecessary actions," her father scolded. "Just sit quietly in class," her mother added. Emily cried in her room, pondering why her talent was seen as a sin. That night, she resolved to find a place where her talents would be recognized and to achieve success so undeniable that everyone would have to acknowledge her value. One day, Emily formed a group with girls she met in art class. They understood and accepted her intellectual side. For the first time, Emily felt the warmth of friendship. They gathered at a cafe after school, passionately discussing art, science, philosophy. Emily freely expressed her opinions on every topic, impressing her friends with her knowledge and insight. "Emily, you're really interesting," her friend Jessica said. "I wonder why I didn't get to know you sooner." Emily felt she had finally found a place where she belonged. But this happiness was short-lived. Ashley wanted to join the group. She couldn't bear Emily becoming close to anyone else. One afternoon, Ashley approached Emily's group. "Hey, let me join too," she said sweetly. Emily's friends were hesitant, knowing how Ashley had treated Emily. "Sorry, Ashley," Jessica said kindly, "but this group is—" Ashley's expression turned fierce. "Why won't you let me join?" Ashley's voice of anger echoed in the hallway. "You're the worst sister, mates." That night, Ashley complained to their parents, crying that Emily was being mean and wouldn't let her join the friend group. Their parents sided with Ashley. "Emily, why can't you be more compassionate?" Her mother Sarah's reproachful words stung. "Ashley is your sister. Try to get along better." Emily tried to stand by her decision, but it wasn't easy. There were nights when she cried into her pillow. Why did she have to suffer like this? Why couldn't her parents understand her feelings? However, this experience made her stronger. Emily learned that her value lay not in others' judgments, but within herself. She dedicated herself even more to her studies, setting her sights on a future goal, to succeed on Wall Street. That was her form of revenge and self-affirmation. In her final year of high school, Emily won a national mathematics contest. Her name became known throughout the school and was even featured in the local newspaper. For the first time, Emily tasted the joy of having her talent recognized. However, this joy was fleeting, as new problems arose at home. Ashley was jealous of Emily's success, fearing that their parents' attention would shift to Emily. One day, Ashley told their parents a lie about Emily. She accused Emily of having a secret boyfriend and using drugs. The moment David confronted her, his voice was trembling with rage. "Is it true?" he asked, his anger palpable. "I can't believe you would do such a thing." Emily, feeling the weight of the accusation, tried to explain herself. "No, Dad, it's not true. Please, let me explain." But he wouldn't listen, his mind already made up. Sarah stood by silently, offering no support, her face impassive. Tears welled in Emily's eyes as she begged. "Why won't you believe me? I've always been honest." "You only believe Ashley's words." But their attitude was unwavering. In their eyes, Ashley was always right, and Emily was the problem child. Frustration and anger bubbled up inside Emily. She couldn't keep quiet anymore. "Why would you lie like that?" she shouted at Ashley. "What have I ever done to you?" Then, without warning, Ashley shoved Emily hard. Emily lost her balance, and her head slammed into a shelf behind her, causing blood to pour from her nose. The pain from the blow was sharp, but the betrayal from her family cut deeper. As Emily clutched her nose, tears mingled with blood, her heart shattered. Her parents took her to the hospital, but still, they defended Ashley. "It was an accident," David said, his voice trying to downplay the incident. Ashley didn't mean it. In the hospital waiting room, Emily sat in silence, the pain in her head and heart merging into a suffocating weight. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she quietly wept. A nurse, noticing her distress, approached with a gentle voice. "Are you okay? What happened?" Emily hesitated, unsure if she could open up. She had never spoken to anyone about her family's issues before, but at that moment, the weight of everything became unbearable. Emily took a deep breath and, for the first time, shared her story. The nurse listened intently, nodding occasionally. When Emily finished, the nurse spoke softly. "I'm worried about your safety. Would you like me to contact Child Protective Services?" Emily's heart pounded. She had never considered it, but she felt that this might be the only way to change the situation. Slowly, she nodded. The involvement of CPS sent shockwaves through the family. Her parents were furious and blamed Emily for everything. "Why did you do that?" Sarah's scream echoed through the hospital corridors. "How could you let outsiders know about our family problems? You've betrayed us!" David glared at Emily, his eyes cold. "You're a disgrace to this family. Don't ever show your face here again." Emily stood there, listening to their words with tears streaming down her face. Her heart felt like it was being torn apart, but beneath the pain, there was a strange sense of freedom, a sense that she was no longer bound by their suffocating control. After that incident, Emily moved in with her grandparents. Her parents didn't put up much resistance, almost seeming relieved that she was leaving. At her grandparents' home, Emily felt what it was like to be loved unconditionally. Every morning, she woke up to the smell of her grandmother's breakfast. In the evenings, she and her grandfather would sit together, gazing at the stars while discussing life's deeper questions. "Life isn't easy, Emily," her grandfather would say, his voice full of wisdom. "But every difficulty you face makes you stronger. Never forget, You have infinite potential. After graduating high school, Emily received a full scholarship to Columbia University. The moment she set foot on campus, a wave of emotion flooded her. This was her fresh start. No one knew her past. No one knew her as Ashley's sister. Here, she was Emily, just Emily. University life was full of surprises. Emily quickly became known for her intelligence and diligence. She was respected by professors and admired by her peers. Her unique personality, once dismissed by her family, was finally recognized and valued. In economics classes, Emily shone brightly. Her sharp analytical skills and innovative thinking left professors in awe. She was no longer the quiet, overlooked girl from a broken home. She was someone who commanded attention, someone whose potential could no longer be ignored. One day, a renowned professor stopped her. "Emily, your latest report was excellent," he smiled. "You have great potential. Would you be interested in working on Wall Street?" Emily's eyes lit up. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. However, occasionally when she remembered her family, she felt a painful tightening in her chest. Her contact with her parents was rare, mostly just a birthday card sent her way. She heard nothing from Ashley. Sometimes Emily would look through her family albums, pictures of her smiling parents and Ashley, with her standing on the edge. Each time she saw those photos, her heart filled with complex emotions. In her sophomore year in college, Emily met Jacob in the library. He was a law student who understood her intellect and introverted nature. They clicked and eventually became a couple. "You're an incredible person, Emily." Jacob's words resonated with her. "I can't believe your family misses that." Being with Jacob gave her a new perspective. She learned the joy of being loved and reevaluated her own worth. It also made her deeply contemplate her relationship with her family. "Should I forgive them?" Emily asked Jacob one night. He chose his words carefully. "That's for you to decide. But I've heard that forgiving isn't for the other person. It's for lifting the weight off your own heart." Emily pondered his words for a long time. Gradually, something inside her began to change. After graduating, Emily joined a major investment bank on Wall Street. Her analytical skills and insights were highly valued, and she quickly climbed the ranks. By her mid-30s, she was a noted figure in the industry. One day, Emily was assigned a major project that could define her career. She worked through many sleepless nights to prepare the best presentation possible. On the day of the presentation, the conference room was packed with executives. Despite her nerves, Emily began confidently. Her analysis was sharp, her proposals innovative. After she finished, the room fell silent. Then the CEO stood and started to clap. The other executives followed. "Great job, Ms. Carter," the CEO said with a broad smile. "Thanks to you, our company will make significant progress." At that moment, Emily felt her talents were fully recognized. Tears welled up in her eyes. It was the moment all her hard work paid off. Meanwhile, Jacob had become a successful lawyer working on human rights issues. Despite their busy lives, they supported each other and shared a strong bond. After 8 years together, Jacob proposed. He knelt in front of her favorite painting at the museum Emily loved. "Emily, I want to share my life with you." His voice trembled. "Will you marry me?" Emily nodded through tears. "Yes, gladly." That night, as they discussed their future, an inevitable topic came up: whether to invite her family to the wedding. Emily called her grandparents to share the news. Their voices of joy brought tears to her eyes. "Your happiness means everything, Emily," her grandmother's warm voice said. "You deserve this." But reaching out to her parents and Ashley was not easy. Years of resentment slowed her hand as she tried to dial their numbers. Emily started the call several times but stopped. Memories of the past and current emotions clashed within her. Ultimately, Emily decided to send a brief message. Emily wrote and rewrote it several times, finally settling on a simple text. "Dad, Mom, and Ashley, I am engaged to a man named Jacob. Our wedding is on the 15th next month. You are welcome to attend if you'd like." After pressing send, Emily's heart pounded. She spent the next few days uneasy, unable to focus at work or sleep at night. Jacob supported her gently. "It's okay, Emily. Whatever their response, I'm here with you." As expected, her parents' reply was lukewarm. "Congratulations. Your father should walk you down the aisle," her mother's message read. It was a demand, not a blessing. Ashley's response was even worse. "Are you trying to shame me by getting married before your older sister? You always think only of yourself." Reading these messages, Emily felt a painful tightness in her chest. Even after all these years, nothing had changed with her family. It was sad to realize that she had no family to genuinely rejoice in her success and happiness. Emily sought Jacob's help. "Should I invite them? But if they come, they will surely ruin the ceremony." Jacob took her hand. "I support whatever decision you make, but I want you to choose without regrets. This is our day, but it might also be a chance to reconcile with your family." Emily thought deeply for a long time. She wavered between the pain of the past and a slight hope for reconciliation. Inside her, a dialogue started between the memories of her childhood and her current self. 2 weeks before the wedding, Emily made her final decision. She would invite her parents and Ashley, but they would not have major roles. "Dad, I've asked Grandpa to walk me down the aisle," Emily told her father over the phone. After a moment of silence, her father's angry voice came through. "What a selfish daughter we raised." Emily, controlling her trembling voice, responded, "Yes, you raised me, but it was my grandparents who loved me. On the most important day of my life, I want someone by my side who truly supports me." It seemed her father lost his words for a moment, but he quickly regained his anger. "You are no longer our daughter." After the call ended, Emily cried for a long time, but these were not only tears of sadness. They were also tears of liberation. Years of suppressed emotions were finally being released. Jacob simply held Emily without a word. No words were necessary. His presence alone comforted her. Preparations for the wedding progressed steadily. Emily, amidst her busy schedule, ran around selecting dresses and arranging flower arrangements, temporarily forgetting her family issues. However, a week before the wedding, another shock awaited her. It was a call from her father. "Emily, I need to talk to you." His voice was tense. "About your wedding day. I can't make it anymore." Emily's heart nearly stopped. "What do you mean?" "Ashley has been promoted to VP of a major company. The celebration is on the same day as your wedding." His words faded away. Memories from Emily's childhood came flooding back vividly. Days when Ashley was always the priority, the pain of being secondary, and now even on the most important day of her life, they chose her sister. "I understand," Emily responded coldly. "Enjoy yourselves." After hanging up, Emily collapsed to the floor. Jacob rushed over and held her. "It's okay, Emily. I'm here with you." His voice helped her regain some strength. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. She stood by the window looking out over nighttime Manhattan. The city lights seemed to reflect her complex emotions. Memories kept coming back. The day she wasn't taken to Disneyland, the parents who didn't celebrate her school successes, the days she was punished for Ashley's lies, and the moment she was coldly kicked out after CPS's intervention. Emily took a deep breath. Yes, that's enough. She no longer needed her parents' or Ashley's approval. She had her own life. She had Jacob, understanding friends and grandparents who loved her unconditionally. The next morning, Emily woke up with a determined expression. "Jacob, we will go ahead with our wedding as planned, even if my parents and Ashley aren't there. We have our true family." Jacob smiled gently. "Yes, we have each other, and we have your grandparents who love you and our friends." On her wedding day, Emily walked toward the altar on the arm of her beloved grandfather, George. She wore a pure white dress with delicate flowers woven into her hair, and the soft glow of the venue was filled with the warmth of their closest friends. Though her parents and Ashley were conspicuously absent, Emily felt Jacob's loving gaze enveloping her, steady and reassuring. "We are creating a new family," she whispered to herself. the weight of the past slowly slipping away. A family based on understanding, on love. As they exchanged vows, Emily looked deep into Jacob's eyes and saw nothing but unconditional love reflected back at her. I vow to love, respect, and cherish Emily Carter, in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. Jacob's voice trembled with emotion as he spoke the words. Emily repeated them, her heart swelling with joy. At that moment, standing hand in hand with Jacob, she felt truly liberated. At the reception, Emily danced, her smile radiant, surrounded by her dearest friends. Her grandparents watched her proudly from a distance, and Jacob's parents welcomed her with open arms, treating her as if she were their own daughter. Yet, despite the warmth and joy of the day, the absence of her parents and Ashley lingered in Emily's heart, a subtle ache she couldn't ignore. During a break from dancing, Emily stood by the window, gazing out at the vibrant lights of the city below. The hum of the celebration felt distant as her mind wandered. Unexpectedly, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Emily. She turned to find Ashley standing there. Ashley, dressed in a glamorous gown, but her eyes were tired, her face shadowed by exhaustion. Ashley? Why are you here? Emily asked, confusion clouding her thoughts. Ashley hesitated, the words coming slowly. I left my promotion celebration early, she said, her voice quieter now. I felt like I needed to be here, at your wedding. Emily's emotions clashed in a whirlwind: anger, sadness, and a small glimmer of hope. I truly regret what I've done, Ashley continued, her voice trembling with sincerity. I've always been jealous of your strength, your intelligence, and the love you received. I didn't know how to handle it. Emily listened in silence, her heart heavy with the weight of years of unresolved tension. It may be hard to repair our relationship, Ashley said softly, but if you can forgive me, I'd like to start over. Emily took a deep breath. The years of pent-up emotions came rushing forward. Ashley, I can't forgive you easily, she replied quietly, the words soft but firm. But I'm glad you came. Maybe we can start to rebuild something, slowly. Tears glistened in Ashley's eyes. Hesitantly, she reached out her hand to Emily. After a long pause, Emily took it. They stood there together, side by side, gazing out at the Manhattan skyline, a silent promise hanging between them. 2 months after the wedding, Emily received a letter from her parents. Emily, we've made a huge mistake. We deeply regret not attending your wedding. We don't know if you can forgive us, but we'd like to meet and talk. Emily stared at the letter, the words stirring a storm of emotions inside her. The question was overwhelming: should she forgive them, or should she continue to keep her distance? She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she turned to Jacob. What do you think? She asked, her voice full of uncertainty. Jacob smiled gently, his hand resting on hers. Maybe it's okay to wait until you feel more settled. There's no rush. Take your time. Emily nodded, grateful for his support. For the first time in her life, she realized that she didn't need to rush into any decision. She could take her time and honestly face her feelings. A new life, a new family, and the possibility of reconciliation, the options before Emily seemed infinite. She took a deep breath, ready to step forward into the future. She decided to start therapy, a path to healing from the traumas of her past and building healthier relationships in the future. I have a loving husband, understanding friends, and grandparents who love me unconditionally, Emily reminded herself. I am not alone. I can get through this. This was the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with the promise of growth and healing. As she looked out the window at the shimmering lights of Manhattan, a sense of calm washed over Emily. The night was alive with possibilities, and though challenges still lay ahead, she was no longer afraid. She had the strength to face them. Jacob came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her. What are you thinking about? Emily smiled, feeling at peace for the first time in a long while. About our future, and reconciling with the past. Let's face it together. Jacob's voice was warm and gentle. We'll overcome it, Emily. Together. In his arms, Emily felt a sense of security and belonging. She had built her life through her own choices, and now she was ready to move forward with her new family. This was not the end. It was a new beginning. A new chapter in Emily's life was about to unfold. What does it mean to truly forgive? And is it worth the emotional toll? Emily's heart wrestled with this question as she stood at the threshold of a potential reconciliation. Her parents' apology felt heavy, laden with years of unspoken guilt and regret. Yet, even as they reached out, the scars of the past lingered. Emily had spent so many years living in the shadow of her sister's jealousy, her parents' favoritism, and her own sense of being second-rate. Even after all the success, the recognition, and the love she'd found with Jacob, a part of her still felt like that lonely girl, yearning for acceptance. But as Emily reflected on her journey, she realized that her true family was already in place. Jacob, her friends, her grandparents, they had shown her the kind of love that was unconditional, supportive, and real. She had no need for validation from the people who had always dismissed her worth. In that moment, she knew she had the power to decide what was best for her. Maybe reconciliation was possible, but it would be on her terms. She didn't need to rush. Healing took time, and Emily had finally learned that she was worthy of happiness, no matter the past. What would you do in Emily's shoes? How would you approach a relationship that's left you with so much hurt? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.